Good morning everyone. This is Kailin Kamikawa. This time, we will answer Sino Osawa's request. We would like to inform you about the Korean cyber terrorist group, VANK. What the infamous cyber terrorist group, VANK, is doing is a complete act of terrorism. The world should never tolerate such racist acts. I think the world should impose strict sanctions on VANK. Also, if the Korean government leaves VANK as it is, the Japanese government will ask the Korean government. I think we should declare strict sanctions, severance of relations between Japan and South Korea, severance of the economy, and severance of exchanges. July 6, 2021. According to Wowcore, VANK is available through SNS such as Twitter. Congratulations. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga has achieved 3 crowns in the new event of the Tokyo Olympics. We have released a poster that says, this poster has a smiling Prime Minister Suga standing on the podium with a gold medal from his neck as printed. Also, on the chest of the tank top uniform worn by Prime Minister Suga, illustrations of Takeshima, Rising Sun Flag, and medalist Son Ki-chung are drawn, respectively. In the poster, from the left, there is also an explanation that it expresses territorial aggression, racism, historical drama. Until now, VANK has repeatedly criticized Japan, requesting the JOC and others to correct marathon gold medalist Son Ki-chung as Korean, distribute the Dokdo Takeshima badge, and at the opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympics, we encourage Korean athletes to wear badges and enter. He criticizes Japan in various ways. Korean media, Digital Times, about the poster, VANK leader Park Geun-tae. Don't stand by or silence the actions of the Japanese government, he said. I want all Koreans and their compatriots to move positively and spread it to the world. It is reported that it was requested. Who is doing hell, territorial aggression, racism, historical drama? This is exactly what Thief is Fierce is. However, what was the origin of this group called VANK? People all over the world, including Japanese, must know the truth about this VANK. Not only will it twist history, but it will also illegally occupy territory and slander tattletale diplomacy. In South Korea under the Park Geun-hye system, which is trying to despise Japan from all sides and connect it to its own interests. The identity of the organization called VANK was born as an organization responsible for this external public relations strategy. Mainly to make full use of the internet to plot the work locally known as the Cyber Diplomatic Mission. The beginning was East Sea. The English name of Sea of Japan has long been called Sea of Japan. However, the U.S. House of Representatives in Virginia named the Sea of Japan in public school textbooks. We have passed a bill requiring the addition of East Sea. This is the first one to defeat dominoes, he said. He was the representative of Park Geun-tae of VANK, Voluntary Agency Network of Korea. East Sea is none other than the name Sea of Japan in South Korea. In South Korea and Korean society in the United States, the Sea of Japan written on maps around the world, we started a movement to change to the Tokai region of our own country more than 10 years ago. At the forefront of these movements is his VANK, led by Park. When it was launched a dozen years ago, introducing lesser-known Korean culture to overseas pen pal, the purpose was to correctly introduce what was misunderstood about South Korea. However, as I appealed to South Korea overseas, the topic of Japan was always involved. The introduction of Hangul and kimchi suddenly changes to a message related to Takeshima. And now, in the coverage of VANK, headlines and phrases that are suspicious are flying around. VANK declares Japan's international status off discount Japan movement. Articles such as, VANK develops Japanese bullying strategy in Asia, are an example. Mr. Park himself gave a traveling lecture at each major university in China. To isolate Japan diplomatically on the international stage, Korean-Chinese private sector cooperation involving the Nanjing massacre, Dokdo, comfort women, etc. as important. Is professing. The funds for the activities are supported by the government, and it is reported that the support of local governments such as Gyeongsangbuk-do is also supported. In addition to VANK, Park's representative is Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, equivalent to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, spokesperson Office Communication Advisory Committee, mentor member of the Youth Committee under the direct control of the President, Asahi also holds positions in government agencies such as the City of La Public Relations Ambassador. He has a strategy for Japan that makes full use of overseas networks. It is expected to continue to get worse. However, with that Vank, I harassed China in the same way, probably because it was attached. Now, it is being targeted by China. In response to China's claim that the origin of kimchi is China, this is probably because Vank is strongly protesting. The Chinese government-owned media, Global Times, was published on February 18, 2021. Where did the Korean Vank trying to blame China come from? I posted an online article titled, "The Global Times was related to the kimchi origin controversy that occurred mainly in the private sector of China and South Korea at the end of last year. It was Vank who provoked the incident. Still the world's largest signature site. China is stealing Korean culture. It is said that it is conducting a signature campaign to protest." Next, Vank's signature activity was related to Japan such as Dokdo and Tokai in the past. Recently, he explained that he is targeting China. Vank wants Google to change Chinese New Year to Lunar New Year. In addition, China incorporated Goguryeo and Balhae into Chinese history. We are trying to tell the international community that Hanbo is distorted as Chinese clothing. About this, Global Times, Vank's claim represents the historical and cultural perceptions of some Korean youth. In the past, it's more intense and careless on the Chinese affair than it was when protesting Japanese right-wing historical drama. I attacked. The Global Times also criticized Seo Kyung-duk, a professor at Songshan Women's University. Professor Xu responded to the kimchi prayer problem. He urged the Chinese portal site Baidu to revise the content in protest. He has recently protested that he labeled the poet Yun Dong-ju as a Korean. Last year, the idol star, BTS, Bangtan Boys, announced the Global Times. It was controversial, accusing him of mentioning the Korea-US alliance after receiving the Van Fleet Award. In this way, what Vank is saying has no basis at all. It is a lowly act whose sole purpose is to blame the other party by screaming, "Blame. I'm buying swords from all over the world." If you look at how China is responding to South Korea, it will be a good example of how Japan should deal with South Korea. Never spoil it. You will find that you need to be disciplined. Even with the issue of the Rising Sun flag, it's just a mess. I will not mention the history of the Rising Sun flag here because it will be long. First of all, only Koreans in the world are making a noise about the Rising Sun flag. Why is only Korea criticizing the Rising Sun flag? Anyone who is decent here should wonder, is Korea abnormal? The fact that I don't understand it is the anomaly of this people. Are you crazy or mad? Are you stupid? I can't help feeling that. China, Russia, Southeast Asia, Europe, Africa, no country has the Rising Sun flag as an issue. Even the United States, which fought for both sexes in WW2, does not care about the Rising Sun flag. Search for USFJ mark. The US Forces Japan normally uses the Rising Sun flag as a unit mark. Looking at this, even the United States, which was an enemy of Japan at that time, it's clear that the Rising Sun flag isn't a problem at all. No country in the world, including China and the United States, which were at war with Japan, sees the Rising Sun flag as a problem. This is the truth. However, only Koreans who participated in the Pacific War with the Japanese army the Rising Sun flag is desperately calling out as a war criminal flag. Can't you understand the anomaly of this? South Korea doesn't even have the qualification to call out in the first place. Isn't it strange that you suddenly started to criticize the Rising Sun flag from around 2010? Until 2010, there were Rising Sun flags everywhere in South Korea, and no one complained about them. When did the criticism of the Rising Sun flag begin? If you look at the articles on the net, you'll find that it's true. South Korea, which has repeatedly criticized the whole world. There is nothing else we are doing other than the outer roads below China. Can't you even understand that the people are being instigated by anti-Japanese sentiment? In the first place, the concept of war criminal nation itself is a word used only in South Korea. Even in Germany, the leaders at that time were treated as war criminals. Germany has not become a war criminal country as a country. What Vank says is just a scribble on the toilet, all crap and no basis. Don't let the world be fooled by Vank's lies. That's all.